What's up, people? Welcome back to the Stash Roundtable, sponsored by 47 Brand. Let your you out. And it is the greatest, most wonderful time of the year. It's not Christmas, but if you're a basketball fan, it's the most beautiful time of the year, and it's March Madness. So, special time. We brought together some of the biggest sports fans, critics, writers, and just know-it-alls about
in our own minds.
In our own minds. We're gonna go around real quick. I'll introduce the lovely and talented panel for you guys watching at home. My man Alvin Blanco, the deputy editor of HipHopWire.com and a proud UVA alumnus. My man Nate Santos, the senior staff writer of TheStash.com. My man Steve Rivers, one of the franchise editors over at Interactive One. We got my man Sean Malcolm, the legendary King Magazine, Everything Magazine, just fucking
legend of my own mind.
Friggin' legend in his own mind. We got Russ Bankston, one of the senior editors over at Complex.com, and my man Angel Diaz, also of Complex.com. Now, welcome back to the Stash Roundtable. We are here with my esteemed panelists from March Madness, the greatest time of the year for a basketball fan. And the great times are coming because it always seems like there's one player who kind of comes from nobody to becoming a somebody, whether it's just in the college realm or the NBA realm. That's what makes March Madness so special. So guys, the first question I ask to each and every one of you is, who is that guy that's gonna go from being just a college somebody to somebody who's a household name all over the globe? Blanco.
So I think off top, I'm just gonna go Carl Anthony Towns. From Kentucky. I mean, yes, he's on Kentucky #1 team, will be the #1 overall pick, but like he's a local kid from New Jersey, 7-footer, big man skill, has legit post skills, can pass, and plays defense. That's what I love about his game. He actually plays defense. You can tell he he's just so focused on defense, and his offense is there.
I think that's a strong pick because it's like everyone just like kind of is enthralled with this, the mystique of Kentucky, but there's not necessarily one standout player. They're just like a great team, and nobody has like eye-popping numbers like that. But I think a guy like Towns, his game will just like explode in the NBA. Russ, who you think?
I mean, I'm going with the other Kentucky 7-footer. I'm going with Willie Cauley-Stein, who I feel like, for him, it's like you're in the Kentucky system, like Alvin was talking about. So it's like you're only getting so much shine to begin with.
Yeah.
And then you're getting eclipsed by Towns, who's like 2 years younger than he is.
Yeah.
But Cauley-Stein, to me, like he's another guy who plays D, but he can still run the floor as a 7-footer. Like, it's like he's getting overlooked by Towns and Okafor as being like #1s. I don't think Cauley-Stein like ends up being that high draft pick.
Yeah.
But I think he's still got a lot to prove.
Between Cauley-Stein and Towns, who do you think has the longer, ability to succeed in the next level?
I mean, I think Towns has more upside. Only because Towns is 19. Cauley-Stein's already 21. It's like he's only a couple months younger than Anthony Davis.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
And also, I feel like he'd have to bulk up a lot more to be 21 and not have a solid frame yet. Yeah.
But he will though. Look at Anthony Davis now compared to when he was in Kentucky. It's like totally different.
But Anthony Davis also came out after 1 year.
No, and I think, you look at guys like Tyson Chandler, and admittedly he came out of high school, but still, like, it's the difference between him, like, after a few years, like, you get on that NBA weightlifting program and those per diems.
Oh yeah,
and you definitely put it on.
And you guys remember when it seemed like Balco was in Miami? That was like Alonzo Mourning, like Lamar Odom, like everybody just bulked up out of nowhere. It's like, what type of weight training program are you guys on? Dwayne Wade looked like a soldier. He looked like Captain America in his second year.
I also feel like it doesn't matter as much anymore. I don't know where the change happened. I think Garnett was part of that, where it's like you can be a skinny 7-footer and like
still be effective.
Anthony Davis too. It's like he's getting big, but like
as long as you got that, like KG, he has that old man strength.
Yeah.
Your grandfather weighs like my grandfather weighs like 100 pounds soaking wet, but he'll snatch me up.
KG also had that Southside mentality still, even though he went to Carolinas or whatever. But he would kill you on the before he was loose.
Insane.
Yeah,
he's still insane.
He's still insane.
That's a different type of skinny. You gonna be skinny, you gotta be a wolf.
A player that I think a lot of people are gonna know about after this year or after this tournament is Ohio State's D'Angelo Russell. If there's one guy who you gotta see play at the college level who is just pro ready, like you see him and you're like, you can stick him on a few NBA lineups right now and you can go out and get some buckets.
Sixers.
It's kind of like I don't know if they have the same games, but it's kind of like Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
But he played on Weber State, but it's like you watch him play, you're like, yo, this kid is gonna be good.
Yeah.
He's gonna be special.
Yeah.
And I think too with Russell, like he's a lefty or whatever, but I think the breakout guy, I think Tyler Jones, like when this is up.
Tyus Jones. See?
Tyler Enos and Tyus Jones. When his tournament's over, I think he's gonna be a household name.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be that guy who kind of like stays in Duke for a while.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He'll stay one more year.
I don't think Tyus Jones.
I think he stays one more year.
I think so. I think he's that guy. He's like the quintessential Duke point guard.
Stanley Johnson is terrific. Just trying to think. But we know a lot about Stanley Johnson in Arizona. Okafor is a stud. Towns at Kentucky is a stud. Trey Lyles at Kentucky, he's terrific. Frank Kaminsky at Wisconsin is terrific. I think the difference this year is I don't think there's going to be any Cinderellas this year.
Oh boy, that's a good question. I would say, just offhand right now, I would go with D'Angelo Russell, the point guard from Ohio State. Skills. Oh man, he can play, and he's gonna have the ball in his hand 90% of the time. And not only can he make shots, he can pass. He got a feel for the game that you can't teach.
There is one guy I think is going to make that noise, but I think the world knows about him already. But I'm going back to Kaminsky from Wisconsin. I mean, he can shoot. He's tall. He can post up. He's not just a stretch four and stays out there. He can post up. He can pump fake drive, get other guys involved. And I think people are going to know who he is because I think he's going to be a hell of a pro.
If there's one player who has a chance to become a household name, college basketball fans know who he is, but casual sports fans might not. His name is Kyle Wiltjer. He's a forward at Gonzaga. Actually started off at Kentucky, played there for 2 years, and transferred to Gonzaga. He's a 6'10", pure stretch forward, so he can make three-point shots. He's very proficient from behind the three-point line, but he can also score inside.
I think if you think about Shabazz Napier last year, I think Kaminsky is that guy this year at Wisconsin. I think as a freshman, Stanley Johnson over at Arizona has that opportunity to do that. But I really, Okafor is already a household name. But I think there's a lot of great players. And the funny thing about it, if you ask everyone, they know Kentucky, but if you ask them to name 6 players, 5 players, or their starting 5, most people wouldn't know.
Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's the guy. I think by the time this tournament's over, he's going to be the first pick in the draft next year. That's what I think. I think he's going to.
You're going to open the state.
Yeah, I think there he is, the Dookie. I think he is definitely. He's going to be the first pick in the draft, Karl Anthony Towns, because of what he's going to do in the NCAA tournament.
Well, I mean, there's always guys. To me, there's a guy, and he's on the radar. People know who he is, but he's not a household name, and that's Jaren Grant at Notre Dame. I mean, this kid, to me, is the #1 point guard prospect in this upcoming draft. He's got NBA size. His dad was Harvey Grant, played in the NBA. I think he was ineligible part or all of last season. He's had a great season. He's helped Notre Dame have a tremendous record. But he's that special kind of player that on that stage in the tournament could put up some unbelievable numbers and carry that team far. He's carried his team thus far.